Gulwali, so could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit why you have decided to work with the young refugees?
Hi, my name is Gulwali. I'm originally from Afghanistan. I came to the UK as a political refugee around 11 years ago, at the age of 13. And I have graduated from the University of Manchester in politics and recently done my master's at the University of Coventry. And a year ago or so, I set up a charity with some of my colleagues called My Bright Kite, to work with young refugees to empower them and help them with their inclusion in society and enable them to achieve their full potential and help them with their aspirations. And the reason I decided to work with young refugees is because I think young people are the future, and also because when I was young, when I came here, I didn't get a lot of support in the beginning from the government or the agencies and social services as such, but I felt it's crucial to give young people the right help and support and guidance so they can make the right decision, because whatever decision they make when they're young, it will impact and influence their lives for the year to come. So that's why I really want to enable young people to help them to find the right opportunities and to have the right help and guidance when they need it the most, and so they hopefully would make a decision which will be beneficial and positive for their future aspiration.
Mm-hmm. And could you tell us a little bit more about these young people that you work with? So we know, you can describe if there is any exact age, which countries, are there any particular settings that you work with them?
Sure. I travel across the UK because I have written a book about my experiences called The Lightless Sky. It's published in 7 countries in 6 languages, and I have done about 300 or so talks across universities, literary festivals, schools. The main aim of my talks are to raise awareness, to create a culture of welcome, and to get people to understand that refugees are human beings, and obviously they're individuals like me and like us. So it's been an interesting journey for me in the last 5 years or so, but the book only came out about 3 years ago. And so the work that we do specifically through My Bright Kite, we have 5 youth projects in Leeds and Yorkshire, where we work with schools and colleges, mainly working with unaccompanied minors and young people age 11 or even younger to 18 till we have some young people we work with who are over 20, who are doing their ISL studies at college, to trying to engage them. And so we do projects such as Picture Your World. So there was an exhibition, actually we did an exhibition at Leeds Museum, and going on trips to the Yorkshire Dales, all sorts of things to get them involved and want young people to feel part of society and to feel belonged and feel not isolated. And so our objectives is to ensure that every young person, every refugee is empowered and are able to achieve their potential, basically. And so we do whatever we can. It's not just a set of things, so we help them if they have issues. We signpost a lot of young people. And so the sad reality is there's far too much demand for services and help, but there is not much help available, and a lot of charities are doing the work of government. So for me, I think it's good to be able to give back to society, not only nationally to change people's attitudes and get people to show solidarity and to be more compassionate towards refugees, but also work with refugees like people. And I was in their situation a few years ago, so when I meet young people, I talk to them. I had those feelings I never imagined, going to university. And just before I came to talk to you guys, I used to live in Hume in 2008. I never ever thought. I used to take the bus to go to Bolton to school. I never imagined one day I would be graduating from the University of Manchester. And let alone, I never really thought I'd even go to university because of the difficulties I had with English, and also the support that was not available to me and my status and so on. So I always tell young people there is hope, and not to lose hope and stay positive, and to work hard and to get involved and engage and be active and participate in whatever opportunity there are.
Mm-hmm. And Gulwali, I would like to ask you, what are the challenges in your work with the young people?
So for me, it's quite interesting because I haven't really had a formal job as such, because I've been doing all sorts of things as a refugee spokesperson and advocate and campaigner, but then to start My Bright Kite and to have an organizational structure. And my role has been focusing on advocacy and campaigning, because that's what I've been doing for years, working with other refugee organizations. It's quite challenging because it's important to me working with young people and having their voices heard, because at times the media just doesn't portray refugees, and particularly young people, in a positive light. So challenges around language barrier, challenges around meeting those young people and finding them, or actually encouraging them to get involved, because a lot of the time they feel so hopeless and powerless and helpless because of the way the Home Office has treated them and how they have been dehumanized by the media and politicians, and the debate around their cases, and how their credibility being put under question. So a lot of young people will feel very uncomfortable sharing their stories and their experiences, because they think people will not believe them, because that's how they've been made to feel. So there's definitely a lot of challenges, particularly around funding, and mainly a lot of young people have challenges, the sense of uncertainty and instability, because they don't have the right status. And so it's difficult, trying to give people hope when they have kind of lost everything. And it's a tough challenge. But the thing that helps me is that I said to them, look, I was in your situation, and I have overcome the adversity and difficulties because people supported me and helped me, and there are people who believed in me. So I think, believing in those young people, they will achieve, they will go through university and go through colleges or become successful in different ways.
Mm-hmm. So if I could ask, then Gulwali, what support have you received? Because you started to mention this to us. So in the past, to take you where you are at in this situation.
So when I first arrived to the UK as an unaccompanied minor, unfortunately, as I mentioned, I didn't get much support from government, even though it was better than half of the world that I crossed. But at the same time, there was a feeling of unwelcomeness and unwantedness, and seen as a suspect and a criminal. And I felt like the whole asylum process in the system is such that you are guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent, and that's very difficult to do when you don't have the right paper. And so the help and support I got was, of course, the social services and government was supportive in some ways, but ultimately was disputing my age and my nationality, and not believing a lot of things I was saying, but ultimately it was the people. So my teachers and mentors and my foster family, these were really valuable support and things that enabled me to become who I become today. And also things like doing youth work and being involved with the British Youth Council in the UK Youth Parliament, and working around youth policies and youth participation, youth voice work with youth workers, gave me the confidence and the kind of ability to raise my voice and to share my experiences and perspectives. So I got support. The system didn't value me, but people did.
Mm-hmm. So Gulwali, we discussed the challenges and the challenges you have to overcome, the challenges in your work. What was the support? But if you could tell us, what is inspiring in this work?
The reason I do what I do is because I feel it's important, but also it's empowering and inspiring for me. But also when I try to inspire others to take action, to get involved, and to make them realize that injustice is their business. So that is inspiring when I meet people across the UK, not just refugees, but to the general public, who are very compassionate, who cares deeply about human rights and care deeply about asylum seekers and refugees' rights. And that inspires me. And to see, I've stayed with people who've been fostering refugees. I have met people who've been campaigning and traveling to Calais, to the jungle, to meet and volunteer. And when I see people go that extra mile, when they do things when they don't have to, that is actually inspiring. It gives me hope that we hear this small minority of people who are very anti-refugees, anti-migrants, but the majority of people are very welcoming, and people they have sense of responsibility and moral duty to help those in need. So that's quite inspiring for me. And also meeting young refugees who have overcome so much difficulties and hardship and still haven't lost hope, and they are resilient and continue to make a difference and to achieve, and to they want their adversity not to stop them from succeeding and doing well at school or university. I was talking to my foster parents recently, and they had a young boy who was trafficked to the UK, a Vietnamese young person, and my foster carer said, he's learning English, he's really good at maths, and he's doing support activities, and all these things really helped me put things into perspective, because those are people who didn't have any opportunities, and when opportunities are given to them, they really do much better than the local native young people, because it's we don't take opportunities for granted.
And Gulwali, if you would be to say a message to somebody starting either work or volunteering support role in the youth field, would you be able to say some message to this person?
My advice to people who are social workers or youth workers or either volunteering or starting a job is that to not prejudge people, not to assume things about young people, refugees, asylum seekers, unaccompanied minors, whomever they are. We are individuals, we all have our stories and struggles. And what I appreciate the most working or being supported by people who didn't judge me, who actually listened to me and valued my opinion and have actually worked with me on decision making. Rather than making decision for young people or for those people that you work with, it will be best to get them involved in the decision making process and to ask their opinion and their perspectives on things. So I hope, and just treat them, with respect that you want to be treated. Don't see them as less than yourself. I'm sure that's not the case, because a lot of people who go into youth work are passionate and care deeply about youth issues. So when you work with, you will learn great things from young people. They're very creative, they have ideas, they will make you think about things that you don't normally do. So my advice and suggestion would be to just go there with open-mindedness and just be a good human being, and hopefully you will make a difference. The youth workers that I have met throughout my youth activism and political activist journey has influenced me in so many ways, and I hope I have influenced them too, and make them learn a few things about my culture and my background, as well as the struggle of refugees. So there's always room for learning and improving and making progress. But it will be great to just be there and be part of the team and treat people as equal as possible, if that makes sense.
And if there is any comment or any conclusion you would like to say to the people who are watching this video, listening to this video?
I think there are a lot of things to be said, but I think ultimately we all are capable of touching people's lives in some ways. We all have the capabilities and capacity as human beings to be kind, to be generous, to be humane towards our fellow human beings, particularly those in need. People who are, like, for example, homeless, people who are living in poverty, who are experiencing difficulty, especially refugees and asylum seekers and migrants. And I think we shouldn't think, oh, this is a big crisis, this is a big issue, it's a big problem. Yes, it is, but we can all help someone. We can, when we see injustice, when we see wrongdoings, we should stand up and challenge it. And we should act with kindness. It doesn't cost us anything. And that's my message. And I think, showing solidarity and standing up for what's right. And not just saying, oh, I can't help because there's 65 million refugees in the world. We feel overwhelmed and over, sad about it. But I think, if you can help one person, that's great, because helping one person, you change one person's life, that's something. So, yeah, and don't underestimate the power of little things that we do. It will have a huge impact on people's lives. You never know, by being kind to someone or smiling at someone and doing something, little things for people, that could change their life.